Hello, welcome to How's the Market, Pensacola. It is May the 4th, or better known as Star Wars Day. If you guys know me, you know I'm a little bit of a Star Wars dork. Not so much to where I know like the third planet from Tatooine or something like that. There's some people out there that really dork out over this. I really enjoy it. The kids always joke at me saying that's church. But it is May the 4th. And guess what happened? The governor is now talking about opening up the state in phases.
To a dark place this line of thought will carry us. Great care we must take.
I appreciate that, Master Yoda. Listen, I could sit here and talk about Star Wars all day. I could tell you that I was kind of saddened this morning when I watched the last ever episode of Clone Wars. My wife picks on me because I'm in my 40s and I still watch some cartoons every once in a while. But hey, it's Star Wars. It's Clone Wars. I don't understand why that's such a big deal. I don't get it. I'll tell you what. Let's talk about real estate. Let's go.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, so if you watch the show, you know that I always start off with this particular slide. It says if we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, we have a neutral market. We have greater than 7 months worth of inventory. We have a buyer's market. We have less than 6 months. We have a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say is if you have greater than 9 months, you have a hyper buyer's market. If you have less than 3, you have a hyper seller's market. So let's see where we are. We're going to start this week in Escambia County. It looks like, again, everything under 250 is a hyper seller's market with not even 2 months worth of inventory. The 250 to 300 seller's market barely over a hyper seller's market. Looks like it's all the way up to $500,000 again is definitely a seller's market, with $500,000 to 550 still being a hyper buyer's market. But it's come down a little. If I remember last week, I want to say that was closer to 11. So the 550 or 5 to 550 has actually come down just a little bit, with the 550 to 600 going up a little bit. We got a little over a year's inventory there. 600 to 650 is a seller's market. 650 to 700 buyer's market, just over a neutral. And then of course the ultra luxury is a little over a year's inventory. So we've got a hyper buyer's market there. Let's scoot over to Santa Rosa County before I want to talk about what I want to talk about today. If you look at $0 to $50,000 in Santa Rosa County, I haven't seen this in a while. Nothing. There is not even a lot between $0 and $50,000 available in Santa Rosa County. There is one pending. So there was one. Now we have nothing. Nothing. You get nothing. What was that? Willy Wonka? Anyways, I'm in a weird mood today. 50 to 100,000 is not a hyper seller's, but a seller's. We saw that a little bit last week, so it's actually bumped up just slightly, but it's still definitely a seller's market. And that 150 to 200 range is still at 0.7. This is what I'm worried about showing is nothing. I've been preaching this since before Halloween of last year, and this is what I'm worried about seeing. Nothing. NA. When people talk about, well, this coronavirus is actually going to drive prices down. No, it's not. There's no data that points to that at all. Exactly opposite is looking at happening. Rates are down. All right. I talked about convection. If you haven't watched my video on convection, go back and watch it. It was a few months ago. I actually wrote how this is affecting what's going on right now. When people move out of the market, move into treasuries, and out of treasuries into mortgage bonds. That's what's driving these markets right now. Okay, we're getting a lot of people. Remember, the banks are still flush with cash. They do not want cash. It's not doing them any good. They want to lend. But they're having to drop prices in order to entice people to do so. So this is what I worry about here. I don't want this going to NA, to where that person that's looking to be a first-time home buyer have been steady, saving, working, and now ready to go because they got all the closing costs set up and they're ready to move. Now we don't have anything to look at. Right now, there's only 33 properties active. There's only 33 properties active in that price point. 200 to 250, 1.9 months. And if you look at this, and I know some people are going to tell me because I get comments all the time privately and all kinds of stuff. They're like, well, it's 33 active here, but it's 142 active between 2 and 250. Yeah, but there's 222 of them under contract. there is a huge appetite. That's what that tells me. That correlation tells me there's a huge appetite at that price point. And I know that between 150 and 200, or between 100 and 250, is just a first-time home buyers. It's also a vanilla investor who's looking for their 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, 1,600 square foot place that they can rent out for $1,500 a month or $1,600 a month or whatever, right? They're looking for that, and they're going to continue to get it. So that price point has just got an appetite. All right, that same appetite, those numbers don't work here at the 4 to 450 most of the time, unless you put a significant amount of cash down. Can a $450,000 property work cash flow wise? Absolutely. I've seen $1 million properties work cash flow wise. But your vanilla, especially your first investor or the second investor, or they're looking for something in that 100 to 250 range. Or, they would love to get something in the 50 to 100 range that actually made sense, that they're not going to have a ton of repairs on. Anyways, all right, so all the way up to $500,000 in Santa Rosa County is all the way up to 550 as now. But 550, just like last week, is that threshold. Okay? It's that threshold that shows the 5 to 550 hyper sellers market, 550 to 600 hyper buyers market. Pay attention to that. Your marketing has to pay attention to that. All right, 6 to 650, actually 6 to 700 now. 600 to 700 now in Santa Rosa County has now become a neutral market. A neutral market. Imagine that. And then 700 plus is actually a hyper buyers market. All right, so I wanted to talk to you real quick. A lot of this phasing out. We have got digital showings happening. We're now in phase 1 of people being able to reopen. I'm wondering how many restaurants are going to be packed tomorrow at Cinco de Mayo. I'm sure my wife will want to go get some type of adult Mexican cocktail. And we will figure that out. But as we're moving forward now, even though they went digital, schools are exiting. This is traditionally the time when we see a huge inventory spike. And what I want to ask people is, as you're looking, if you're considering, let's talk. I've had some clients of mine that were going to sell this year that have now decided to push off to next year. I'm okay. I'm supporting that if that's what it makes sense for you. But I want you to give me a shout because I need to have a good conversation with you. If it's just because of COVID and we need to look at the next phase, what we're doing next, why did we need to sell to begin with? Why did we want to sell to begin with? If the purpose was to go be close to the grandkids and we want one more extra year with them, cool, that might still need to happen. But if there's other reasons that we really don't need to sell, I've told 2 of my clients this past week that called me and said, hey, I'm kicking around the idea of selling, but here's why I want to sell. And we walked through it. And I advised them that right now is probably not the best of times. Are we going to see a surge of properties come on the market? Yes. Yes. Am I going to see these numbers go drastically different? Probably not. Because the demand is just as surging as the supply is going to be. And I don't want you to get headlines mixed up. If you look at last May's, I've done this for more than a year now, so you can go back and look at last May's inventory. Look at April's, because April's when I started, right? April 1st, 2019 is when I started this show. So you can look at April stuff, then you can look at May stuff, and you will see an increase in stuff. That's just a normal increase that we see in this area when schools start to end. People want to move. That's why I say, do I think we're going to have a supply increase? Yes, but the demand increase is going to gobble it up faster than the market can sustain it. So I do not see these numbers changing drastically in the near future. That's what scares me. To be honest, that's what scares me right now. If you're considering selling, call me. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation because there's a unique window right now that you're in that you can take advantage of. That may not be here much longer. Especially with the phases. The phases are what's interesting in my mind. We're opening up in phases. I'm waiting for the phase that I can go back to the barber shop because I've got a small I don't know if you can see it here, but I got a mullet thing going on here, and I can't stand it. I need to get a haircut so bad it's pathetic. So I'm waiting for that phase to open up. I had a friend of mine said they're going to start doing speakeasy barber shops. Anyways, I joke about some of this. I know it's not a joking matter, but I'm trying to keep some things light. It is Star Wars Day. It is kind of a great day. But at the same time, I need you to be serious about what you're wanting to accomplish. There is a huge demand for properties right now. I've got 3, and I'm going to finish on this so that people understand it. There is a marketing tactic. It's called coming soon. What does that marketing tactic do? It means that I am not allowed to, and if somebody says they're going to, they are breaking the rules and they could be sanctioned. Okay? They could be sanctioned. I'm not going to go into what the penalties are, but they could get that slap on the wrist. If I put something coming soon, myself and no other licensed real estate broker or sales associate can show that property until the coming soon time is done. So I've got 2 properties right now that are coming on this weekend because the tenants are in there. They're moving out this week. They'll be gone this weekend. We got the deep cleanings happening. The properties are going to come on Sunday. Both of them. I have had 6 agents call me asking to get early access. Can I get in there? They know the rules. And so they go, well, you can't blame someone for trying. Now, why would someone want to try to bend the rule that could possibly get them sanctioned? Because they are desperate for their clients. That shows me the pent-up demand. People are looking for properties right now. They have got to move. And as we open up this phase, the floodgates are just going to continue to open because even the buyers that were nervous are coming back to the market in full force. Now you've got the people that were going to buy in April. April's usually a pretty big month. That didn't. Now they're coming in May and June. You got all the folks that were supposed to be transferred here from the military that are now getting transferred here. Guess what's happening? And I predict, you can see this, and I'm putting this out there because I want this prediction out there, that Florida as a whole is going to see a surge in the next 12 months of people moving to this state. I think that people staying at home, up in New England especially, where people were considering retiring but kept going in the workforce, that baby boomer generation continued to go. I think they're now, as they've been sitting back for a month, I think we're going to see enough of the population to actually shift to go, you know what, I think it is time to retire. And they're going to move to Florida. And some of them are moving here. I know a lot of it moves to Central and South Florida. All right, we see Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Orlando. We see all that happen. Gainesville, Jacksonville. But this little paradise over here in Pensacola area is becoming well known. Our little secret's out, especially when you start talking about the housing prices. So when people tell me they think housing may go down, I look at them and go, based on what? Based on what? And that last part where I think people are going to be retiring, which I think will give opportunities to the next generation coming through, because some of those guys were actually hit a ceiling because the people above them were not retiring. They couldn't do anything, right? So I think there's going to be some opportunities for move up there, which is going to open some opportunities for people that have come out of college now. I think we're going to start to see a shift. I think COVID was that push that may do an economic shift, but that's just my personal opinion. I do know, however, that we've got a huge supply problem. Been preaching that since before Halloween. And we've got a huge demand that is exploding, so much so to where people are starting to try and break the rules to just find a house. Just find a house. What does that do for you as a seller if we do coming soon? Well, it builds anticipation. I promise you, those 2 properties that I have coming on Sunday will probably have multiple offers, either Sunday afternoon or Monday. Because even with the people that have agents, they all know it's coming on Sunday. I think I got 6, well, I know I've got 6 showings on the one property. I had 6 agents call me trying to get in early. The people that are actually following the rules are actually booking them the way they're supposed to. So I got one property that's got 6. I think another one's already got 4, with some more coming. So, yeah, it'll be under contract fairly quickly. That means you got to be working with someone who knows about the coming soon. If you're a buyer, does your agent talk to you about coming soon? If not, call me. I mean, obviously, if you're signed and you're agreed to work with someone, I'm not going to break ethics. I'm just not. I'm one of those weird people that actually am not going to do anything and everything just to get a sale. I'm sorry, that's just not me. If that's who you're looking for, I'm not your guy. Just not. Okay? So, a little bit of a soapbox as we close this afternoon, but things are getting a little strange out there. So stay safe. Phase 1 is here. And, of course, may the force be with you.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there, and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth.
On a mission.
Don't you just want the truth?